Hi, Larry.
15, okay, okay. That's fine.
Yes. Their resistance to change, I by one of the vice presidents in Coca-Cola, and she was.
Okay, 8293. 93 496.
Oops. Hello, I've muted. Everyone's been muted except for me presently. So stand by. If you need to chat or need something, you can do it through the chat feature downstairs or chat me directly or whoever you want to talk to. Because it was getting really noisy. Welcome, everyone. This is exciting.
Boris, just one thing, up in the top right-hand corner, they can do either speaker view or gallery view. If they do speaker view, it will make whoever's performing or speaking large on their screen. If they do gallery view, then they'll just see everyone in equal.
You're going to give us a little primer on this in a second, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes. So stand by, everyone. We're about to begin. Welcome, everyone, to the Berlin Salon. We have people all over the world, in India, in California, in New York, in Hawaii, and Cincinnati, I see there. But anyway, welcome. This is our first Berlin Zoom salon. We had our salon, our first Zoom salon in San Francisco this past month. How's everyone doing with your lockdown? Or is everyone in lockdown? I think everyone is. But anyway, welcome. I'm going to turn this over to Tim Jackson for a moment, and he's going to get us oriented to how Zoom works and how to participate with Zoom today. So I'll hand over the mic to him right now. And,
hi, everybody. Welcome to the salon. It's good to see you all. So on your screen, a couple of things to keep in mind. Top right-hand corner, if you move your cursor, you're going to see where you've got full screen or exit full screen, and then to the left of that is either speaker view or gallery view. And if you put it on speaker view, then you'll have the bulk of your screen showing whoever's performing or speaking. If you put it on gallery view, you'll just see everybody. So I encourage you to put it on speaker view, just so that you'll see the person who's speaking. In the bottom of your screen, you're going to see in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see where it says a little speaker for muting yourself. We will have everyone muted except the person that's performing. But if there's ever a time that you need to unmute yourself, that's how you would do it. We encourage you not to do that because if there's any background noise, it will affect the entire thing. And then there's stop video, but don't turn that off. We want to be able to see everybody. Over next to that, you'll see where it says chat, which is near the center of your bottom of your screen. You can click on that to enter questions that you have for someone who's might be performing or whatever, and I'll be writing those questions down so that we can ask those once the performance is done. If you want to send just a specific chat or something to a specific person, maybe it's someone who's performing, you can actually just click on their window. And if you click on their window, a little sub window will come up that says chat or pin video. If you just click chat, you can send a private message to that person. And then if someone is performing and you're enjoying what they're doing, over to the far right of that center part of your screen, you'll see where it says reactions. If you click on that, you can either clap or do a thumbs up. So either one of those you can click on and it'll temporarily either show that you're clapping or giving a thumbs up. So that's all I have to say. Again, if you have questions for the people that are performing, just go down and enter it into the chat at the bottom, and I'll be writing those questions down, and then we can ask the person when they're done. And now I'll give it back over to Boris and his dog.
So, hi. I'm going to hand the program over for a moment to one of the artists who's participating, who's doing an interactive piece that is, that he will, I'll hand it over to him to explain. And let's find Peter on this so I can unmute him.
Yeah, I just unmuted myself.
Great, Peter. And
Oh,
I'll mute
yes.
myself.
Welcome. I'm Peter Wolff. I'm one of the presenters tonight. And before we get started with the first presentation, I wanted to teach you how to use the interactive part of the evening, of the salon tonight. So I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to put a web address in the chat window, and I'm also going to display the same thing on my screen by sharing my screen. So either by opening up a web browser, a web window on your computer, or on your phone, type into a web page Lledo.com, and then you'll be prompted to enter this access code 58154. Yeah, and let me or Tim know if you have any questions about that. But basically, this is this is going through the interwebs to connect us all. And we're going to use this later to do a group story, to create a group story together, or a group storytelling activity. But what I'd like to do now is just to get you oriented with it. And you'll see if you've connected to your web page, now I've started the poll. And then you can just enter in your response to this poll. So just give a word that describes your current emotional state. And this actually, once you type that in, it'll start to show all these emotional states for all of us to see, just like kind of checking in, like, how are we all doing tonight? Mm-hmm. Oh, I see one. Does anybody have any questions? Tim, are there any questions coming in?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, so just to make sure everybody kind of understands it, go ahead. And if you have any questions or difficulties getting set up, let us know. And then if you are set up, just go ahead and enter in a word. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it working, Marta?
I'm looking where I can write a type excited, because I'm very excited for this meeting.
Uh-huh. Are you able to open up a web window in Slido.com and access the event there? Either on your phone or in a separate web window? This is always the toughest part of the whole thing. That's why I just wanted to do like a little orientation around it so we can have fun with it and use it later. Let's see. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment. Yeah, so far I only see one participant.
That code indicates MSK Pharmacy. 58154 says MSK Pharmacy, which is bizarre.
That is bizarre. That could be a problem. Why is that happening?
I have MSK Pharmacy also, and a whole list of anonymous people posting words.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Same here in Cincinnati. I've got everybody's comments, but MSK Pharmacy.
Oh, great. Well, that's
all of the comments are pertain to what you've asked, though. just forget the MSK pharmacy. And I think everyone here has said grateful, curious, looking forward to performance, etc.
Okay, so in the so when we get to do this next time, I'll create another code so we don't get that mixed up. But I guess everybody knows how to use it. So yeah, so I guess I'll turn it back over to you, Boris.
Thank you. Our first artist today is Darlen Dhillon. And Darlen is living in India right now. And she is restoring, I think she studied Kathak dance in 1999 in San Francisco with her guru, and has toured the world performing Kathak style dance, which is classic. And this has been a labor-intensive getting ready for Salon this week. We tried several times to get the sound and everything to coordinate from her location in India. And when that failed, she recorded a performance specifically for this evening's Salon. And we'll start with that performance right now that she put together in her studio. So stand by and I will put it on the screen.
And Boris, can I say a little something about the piece?
Please do.
Okay.
Yes.
Namaskar, everybody. It's so great to see so many faces and people joining the Zoom. As Boris so graciously introduced me, my dance form is Kathak. It's one of the 8 major classical dances of India. And Kathak comes from the word katha, meaning to tell stories. And a Kathaka is a storyteller. And I'm really happy to share this piece with you. It's a studio piece. I wish I could show you something on the stage when, usually we have the bright lights at Boris's Salon too sometimes when I dance. But I wanted to show this piece because it's really relevant. I feel the piece is an ancient story about Lord Krishna as a little boy. And Kathak dancers used to, wandering bards and minstrels used to tell these stories in ancient times in India. And this ancient story is about Lord Krishna as a boy, and he defeats, first he's playing a game of ball with his friends, and then his ball mistakenly falls into the water. And he finds the courage within him to go ahead and dive in and face his fears and retrieve the ball from this crazy 10-headed serpent demon. So I believe it's a great metaphor for what we are all going through right now, that we must dive in, find our own inner strength so that we can find global strength right now during this difficult time. So we can go ahead and watch the piece. I'm really happy to share it with you.
I'm gonna check out the guys. I'll be back.
Thank you very much, everyone. And Boris is queuing up the second piece. So the second piece is, now you can see, which is taking place on the stage. And this is also being performed live with Indian classical musicians, a live tabla player from Mumbai, India. And then I'm so grateful to have such a wonderful band of musicians. So this piece, this piece here is highly technical.
Ready?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. And
Nicely done. Whoops. Just a second. Just a second.
Take your time, Boris, and I'll just say thank you to everybody. I got a few chat messages, and thank you for sharing that. And you can find me online, my first and last name, darlendhillon.com, and please do send me a message. I'm teaching regularly here in India. I have a lot of students actually in America, and would love some students in Europe, so please do reach out. If you're interested in learning and learning more about the art form, Kathak dance. Thank you.
Beautiful, Darlene.
Well done.
Wow, thank you so much, Darlene. Very impressive. You always amaze me when I see you work. It's wonderful. Thank you. I would like to. I'm going to send out a file to everyone right now, which has our program, and I see that those people who joined more recently didn't get it. So stay with me 1 second while I touch that too. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to queue up our next artist, who is Gemiah Kurzfeld. Gemiah and I worked together a few years ago, and he was gracious enough to perform at a salon of ours last year as an aerial artist. And I am, in the document I just sent to everyone, you can see there's how to get hold of all the artists at their various websites. And there's also a link to an aerial, Gemiah's aerial performance at the Salon last year with Charles Moselle and cellist Josh McLean. So check that out. And now we'll have Gemiah, who I will unmute.
All right.
Step right on up.
Hello, everybody. I'm Gemiah. Thanks for that introduction, Boris. Yeah, I am usually an aerialist and also a juggler, and I basically all-around circus artist. I love to perform in any way I can. And today I'll be doing a bit of juggling for you guys. Some of you, if you were at the last Salon, the San Francisco Salon about 2 weeks ago, you might have seen something similar, but I'm kind of improvising and changing it up a bit this time. And yeah, great to be performing here for all of you. It's gonna take me a quick second to get my music all set up. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. All right. Now that should be it. But here goes. 1 second, let me reset this.
regret. When the lights come down, got an empty crown. My body's missing pieces, can't pull it all together. My body's missing pieces, I wish I could remember. My body's missing pieces, can't pull it all together. My body's missing pieces, I wish I could remember. There's a war inside my head, and I'm drowning in regret. When the lights come down, got an empty crown.
Thank you, Gemiah.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Really awesome.
Yeah, bravo.
Wow. Do check out Gemiah's aerial video. He's really amazing as an aerial artist also, particularly since that's his main medium. And you did great as a juggler as well. I was very impressed. Thank you for being with us today. I'm going to move right along right now. Are there comments or questions that you were done there? Probably.
Not right now.
Great. So right now we're going to move along to Marta Lledo. I don't know, 10 years or so ago, I got a call from pianist Marta Lledo from Argentina saying she was on her way to Tokyo to perform Rachmaninoff Concerti with the Tokyo Symphony, and she'd heard about my salon, and since she was going to be in San Francisco, could she play? And I went, oh my God, yes. So she came and sat down at our piano here in our living room and broke the piano. She was playing for a concert hall. And happily, it was an evening where we had, as a guest, a piano technician who quickly fixed the piano, and she proceeded to finish us. And every time I recall her performance here, I get goosebumps. She was just astonishing. And I think you'll find her work today really equally amazing. So without further ado, I'm going to share Martha's work. And so stand by.
Seven.
I ask everyone to mute because we're hearing a lot of background, so you wouldn't be able to hear Marta sing and perform.
Hello, everyone. Hope all of you are doing wonderful. My name is Marta Lledo. I'm a concert pianist from Argentina, and I'm going to play for you a creation I made. I mix part of the Moonlight Sonata first movement with a Brazilian song by Antonio Jobim, How Insensitive, with Latin rhythms. Hope you enjoy.
Amazing.
Hello, everyone. Marta.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Wow. Is there more on this particular side? I guess
Marta
there is.
Lledo coming back. I'm going to play now for you a tango from Argentina, Liber Tango by Astor Piazzolla.
Wow.
0% of those with facial
Is the Chinese?
were using
Wow, so China's
understand what I'm saying? And of the people who did not have face-to-face.
Wow, amazing. Thank you, Marta.
There's someone that needs to mute their speaker. We're getting a lot of background noise from someone.
Properly, where it was effective, and it was not.
Oh,
A
wow.
conversation of something.
Wow.
Okay. We're back. And now, wow, I'm so, thank you, Marta. That was amazing. Absolutely amazing. You're getting lots of positive response here. And wow, I'm still recovering. That is amazing. Thank you so much. I'd like to now move to our next artist, who's Peter Hans Wolff, who is an author who lives in Berlin, and you met him earlier in the session. And if you will now unmute yourself and join us.
Yes. Thanks, Boris. And hello, everybody. And it's actually really fun to be doing this. I've read before at one of Boris's salons, and it's really great to be doing this online for the first time. And like, as I already said before, yeah, there is an online interactive piece that we'll do later. But first, I'd like to share a short excerpt from a book that I'm writing. It's a 3 generations memoir, basically about me, my father, and my grandfather, my father's line of the family. But I'm born in San Francisco, so I'm a San Francisco native, and so part of my story takes place in San Francisco, and this is a little piece that I want to share with you tonight. And it's called A Tribute Sale. I recently had a chat with a friend of mine about the difference between sweet and cheesy. Evidently, there is no difference. Sentimental softness is either felt in empathy or ridiculed as excessive schmaltz. I'm tempted to satirize my own feelings even here, so as not to expose how deeply my mother's death affected me. The decision to charter a sailboat and disperse Mom's ashes in the San Francisco Bay was an intentional act to reunite my mother and father. In 1968, Mom had Dad's ashes scattered in the bay. Per his request, there was no memorial service. In 2002, having just crossed the threshold of outliving my father, I searched for a place around the bay to create my own memorial for Dad. I chose a spot in Marin County, at a grassy bluff overlooking the bay towards San Francisco. It also has a metal cable attached to the top of the bluff, so you can scale down a steep slope to a small beach below. I actually didn't have any words on that occasion, but only the company of 2 dear friends. But I did have ashes to send floating away in the water. I've been slowly preparing for his memorial service for 4 years, and it was the beginning of reconciling my father leaving my life at such a young age. On April 16th, 2014, we remembered my mother, Nancy Louise Wolff. With flowers, words, and silence, I could describe all the things that went into the preparations, multiple acts of honoring, how the details matched her spirit, her love, and the beauty that she brought to my world. If the ceremony in the church was an outpouring of still unprocessed grief and loss, the afternoon cruising over the bay water was a joy that gave everyone an unforgettable memory. I am the water. I rained down with sunshine bursting through my veins, falling fast, but never fearing my fate. State to state, I change, one form to another, never doubting the cycle in motion for millennia. It isn't worth a moment of worry. Persistent and in good company, our sameness pressing together is comforting. Sliding onward and melting into drops of other, landing to enjoy the breeze on board, whipped by the wind and sudden movement of the sail, flying again through the atmosphere, joining the choppy bay crests of white foam to the shallow waters of life. The keel runs deep below, but I float. To feel connected, let the solid ground remain in the distance, but still within sight. I'm a part of you, though you may not see me, flowing fast through your heart and tears. I am the water. A few years later, I returned to San Francisco and visit Yacht Harbor, where we boarded Mom's tribute sail. Admiring a couple of 50-foot sailboats and dozens more filling the marina, I passed the St. Francis Yacht Club. I'm alone with the elements. Barely a cloud and not a hint of fog, but the strong, cool breeze is an ideal companion to the sun's warmth. Next, I come to Golden Gate Yacht Club. Once an everyman's club in the shadows of the St. Francis, it is now one of Larry Ellison's personal holdings, purchased and completely renovated in 2012 for the America's Cup race. I guess I won't be chatting with any salty sailors about old trophies adorning the walls. The door is locked with only a security touchpad as the host at the front door. About 50 feet beyond the clubhouse, the road ends and the peninsula that forms the harbor's entrance terminates at a point called the Wave Organ, a functional art sculpture built in 1986. The waves that cause the surrounding craft to gently bob in the sparkling sea also push salt water through pipes and play a combination of chords and gurgles as you rest and take in the panoramic views of the city skyline, Fort Mason, Alcatraz Island, Marin County, and the Golden Gate Bridge. Today, the sliver of land really is the best thing, next best thing to floating on the water. The tide has retreated enough to silence the organ, and I look out over the water towards Sausalito to a point I recognize. The water, just off the outcropping at Yellow Bluff, has become my family memorial, the place I always return to honor my parents. I know that the city will always be a part of me. The roots of my lifetime spring from here. I'm overcome with emotion. The sacred water splashing and hissing around me reminds me that my father took unresolved pain with him into the depths of the bay. And it doesn't take much for me to sink into the sadness that permeates my father's line. And I'd rather be buoyant. So I come up for light and air, knowing that this moment anchors me to the bay for the rest of my days. I decide that my ashes will finally rest in the same place, my soul, hopefully unfettered by persistent pain and grief. I follow the signs that help me move closer to resolving the wounds in my own heart. That is what I want to share with you from the book tonight.
I have a question. I think something that others don't know about you is your history and going back to why you moved to Berlin. I mean, you're now a German citizen, are you not? Having been born in the U.S. I mean, I think that story would interest people, and what your book is about overall.
Yeah, the whole thing about becoming a German citizen is actually part of the whole story. My grandfather and my father were born in Germany. I was born in the United States. That actually makes me first generation American in some accounts. And actually the catalyst, the thing that had me write the whole book was because I had to follow a lead to kind of investigate my my ancestry, my family line. Because my father's side of the family is Jewish. And so in this story is not only, a haunting Holocaust story, but also the story of my father hiding during the war, and how he got back he immigrated to the United States, and because he was a German Jew who lost his citizenship due to the Nuremberg laws that were passed by the Nazis in 1935. He was stateless until he became a citizen of the United States in 1952. But Germany, as part of its reconciliation with the past, makes citizenship available to those that lost it because of the Nazi laws. And that applies to their descendants as well. So that's how I got German citizenship, and it made it very easy for me to cross the Atlantic and choose to live in Berlin. And I'm really glad that I have. And it's also been really satisfying to be doing more research and also writing this story here in Germany, because it's so much about my roots. And it's also
like your father, you're fleeing a fascist state.
Yes.
Forgive my political commentary, but well, anyway, the corollaries are shocking.
Yeah, so that's the background story. And kind of related to this, I wanted to take the opportunity now to segue to the other part of the interactive piece of it. So what I'm going to do is try this one more time. Let's see. Do you see anything?
It says Peter Wolff has started screen sharing.
But nothing has actually happened. All right, I'm going to try again.
There we go.
I can't actually see. That's strange.
What's up is your vocalized website.
Okay, and that's not what I want. Oh, so many glitches. So let's see. Let me try something else. Now if I share my screen, there.
There it is. So we want to go to slido.com.
Yeah, and I created a new group, a new access. So hopefully this works. So if you get to this group, I'm going to go ahead and start running the poll. So when you get to this, you should already be able to find it. But the way that this works is everybody contributes a line anonymously. And when we create a group story, we don't actually know who's contributing a line, But what I do is I take all of everybody's individual stories and combine it into a group story. And like everybody's responding to the same prompt. In this case, it's, what is the title of your ancestral story? So if everybody types that in, then we can start seeing some of the responses. And then what I'll do, actually all this comes to me and I take it and edit it and create something new from it that is ours. And so what I've asked Boris to do is tomorrow maybe, with a bunch of information about all of the presenters at the Salon, also send out our group poem.
Yes. Tomorrow I will be sending out the group poem, and I will also send out links for all of the artists, and you can explore their work and much more of their work. And something about this particular time, all performing art is basically canceled in the world right now for the foreseeable future. And so any opportunities you can have to purchase artists' CDs or share their work with friends that might want to purchase their work or engage them online to perform for a dinner party, I encourage these activities to keep the artists of this world alive, which will be very helpful. I am water, I see appearing. And so tomorrow you'll receive that, and I hope everyone will follow up on that. Plus there'll be a link to the video of this salon so you can replay all or your favorite parts of it. So thank you, Peter. Oh, you took your father's middle name, and I put it on the program, Peter Hans.
Actually, it's my grandfather's middle name.
Grandfather's, okay.
Spelled with a double N, so I'm double N, double F.
That'll be corrected tomorrow.
And you can follow me on Instagram at Peter Hans Wolff. And like also, I guess what'll come out is like the website that talks more about this this project that we're participating right now and creating a group poems called Vocalize. And so thanks for playing along.
Thank you.
Beautiful, Peter.
I was just corrected that we're not yet a fascist state, so that's a good thing. Thank you for stilling my anxiety about that subject. Someone sent me a note, and so I'm responding. And I would like to now turn over the program to Paul Festa. Paul was the first artist who performed at my Berlin Salon series that started October 3 years ago. Wow. So the Salon in Berlin started October 3 years ago, and now we continue. And so Paul, would you unmute yourself so you'll come forward as front and
Can you
center
hear me?
speaker? Yes, we can see you
Can
too.
you hear me good? Okay, great.
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
We've been a consistent supporter and oft-times host of the Salon in Berlin, and I'm so grateful for you, for our friendship, and for your art. And Paul works in a wide variety of media. He's a graduate of Juilliard and as a violinist, and he is a filmmaker and author, and he's a professor in Berlin. And I'll turn it over to you, Paul.
All right. Well, I'm working on a roots story. It's a story of 3 generations of my family and an immigration story. And I took my grandfather's middle name. And,
What are you talking about?
Yeah. So sorry, I don't have much new for you, but it's a film, and possibly also a book. And I'm going to show you just 10 minutes of footage that I put together into a timeline for the purposes of fundraising. And without further ado, I'll show you that, and then happy to answer any questions about it. Wait, I need to enable screen sharing first.
And make sure you click those little buttons at the bottom.
Share screen, share computer sound, optimize screen share for video clip. Are we good?
Yep, now we just need the video.
Come vivevate? Con I cavalli dentro? E l'acqua da dove la prendevate?
Dalla fontana.
Ma il bagno ce l'avevate a casa?
Il bagno? Niente.
E la luce?
La luce sì.
Stava. Ma la mattina il cavallo dove stava?
Nella stalla.
Dentro casa?
Dentro casa.
E le galline?
Noi abbiamo una casa qui. E poi dietro ci stanno i cavalli.
C'avevano tutto nella casa. Zio Paolo, zia Paolo, perché se n'è andato in America? Per il lavoro.
Per il lavoro,
Perché qua si faceva solo in campagna. E allora zio Paolo se n'è andato in America.
Il mese dei bus.
Ah, ma è venuto?
Sì, è venuto parecchie volte.
Ma dobbiamo andare di nuovo nei Sassi a vivere? No. Beh, è piccolo.
Non credo più. Andiamo in giro.
Ma nei Sassi si stava bene.
Si stava...
Senza acqua, senza luce. O stai meglio qua?
Ma moglie da, ne va bene. Ci mettevi i rubanelli. Ci mangiasse la cata.
Ma quando stavate nei Sassi con tuo padre, con nonno Eustachio, da che anno siete andati in campagna?
Da 7 anni andiamo in Gambana.
Ma tutti quanti?
Tutti.
Gio Peppin, Gio Fran.
Quelli erano più piccini in gara.
Ma venivano pure.
Venivano pure. Mia sorella è la prima, io sono la seconda.
Ma zia Raffaele veniva pure in Gambana.
E che come non
Ma come andavate in Gambana?
Con traino.
Un traino? Un mule?
Un mule, sa.
Il mule era il cavallo e il traino era tipo la macchina che abbiamo adesso. E per loro quello era l'unico mezzo di trasporto.
Il cavallo sotto a quella...
Prima nei Sassi c'erano solo arrivavano ogni sera, sti carri che trasportavano quello che loro avevano in campagna per dar da mangiare alla famiglia e agli animali che avevano in casa.
Matera, the city my grandfather left in 1920 to become an American, sits at the southern end of the Italian peninsula, an hour's drive from the nearest airport. If you were to slip a foot into the boot of Italy, Matera would sit just behind the ankle bone. It describes an Orion's belt with Pompeii to the west and Brindisi to the east. Matera has been continuously inhabited since the Stone Age. Conquest and exploitation have visited over the millennia, but Matera's distance from the coasts has both graced and cursed it with comparative isolation. That isolation preserved the city's language, Materano, which is still widely spoken. It also preserved, up through the middle of the last century, living conditions that shocked the conscience of the developed world when they became widely known. When my grandfather emigrated to the United States, he was fleeing a degree of poverty that, once it became widely known in the 40s and 50s, made Matera the shame of Europe.
Das ist ja nur dein Kamerasymbol, das ist ja nicht Zoom.
Das ist Zoom.
In 1935, the government arrested the writer and painter Carlo Levi, a Jewish native of Turin, over his opposition to Italy's imperial occupation of Ethiopia. For a year, Levi was confined in small towns near Matera, where he painted dozens of canvases capturing the lives whose misery the North euphemized as the Southern problem. Levi's book about this year, Christ Stopped at Eboli, made an enormous impact upon its publication in 1945, bringing the attention of the country and much of the world to the misery he had witnessed and tried to help alleviate. He hadn't practiced since medical school, but the villagers got wind of his training and made him the de facto town doctor. The only substantial glimpse of Matera in Levi's book comes through the eyes of his sister, a practicing physician who brings him supplies from the north and travels through Matera to have the police stamp her papers.
A little beyond the station, I found a street with a row of houses on one side and on the other a deep gully. In the gully lay Matera. From where I was, higher up, it could hardly be seen because the drop was so sheer. The gully had a strange shape. It was formed by two half funnels. The two funnels, I learned, were called Sasso Caveoso and Sasso Barisano. They were like a schoolboy's idea of Dante's Inferno. And like Dante, I too began to go down from circle to circle by a sort of mule path leading to the bottom, passing over the roofs of the houses, if houses they could be called. There were caves, dug into the hardened clay walls of the gully, each with its own facade, some of which were quite handsome, with 18th century ornamentation. The houses were open on account of the heat, and as I went by, I could see into the caves, whose only light came in through the front doors. Most families have just one cave to live in, and there they sleep all together, men, women, children, and animals. This is how 20,000 people live. Of children, I saw an infinite number. They appeared from everywhere, in the dust and heat, amid the flies, stark naked or clothed in rags. I've never in all my life seen such a picture of poverty.
Wow. Wow. It's a radical lifestyle change you have had since then.
Yeah, seriously. Wait, someone, I'm not going to out him because he wrote to me privately, but he said, bellissimo, Paul, capisco tutto, which shocks the shit out of me because half the time they're speaking Materano, and Materano is closer to Albanian than it is to Italian. I mean, it's really strange dialect.
That's interesting. Very interesting. Were there questions that came in, Tim?
No, there aren't.
Well, and you're fundraising to complete this film?
Yes, I am. The subject that I just brought up, the fact that Materano is impossible to understand. And also, in the narration there, it says that Materano is still widely spoken. I've since learned that that's not quite true. The people who are in their 80s, 70s, 60s speak it. People in their 50s and 40s understand it. People in their 30s and younger, it's a dying language. And so I happen to have found a film and my Italian's pretty spotty. But I've finally found a film editor who speaks both Italian and Materano and a little bit of English, which is really rare because nobody south of Rome, very few people south of Rome have any appreciable English at all. So so I have to raise money to pay this person to go through. I mean, I've been to Matera now 5 times in the last 3 years and captured hours and hours and hours of footage, and a lot of it I simply can't understand. And even Italian friends of mine, even when they're speaking Italian, some of my Northern Italian friends have a hard time piecing together what they're saying. So the editing job is going to be very tough. And the next step is to raise enough money to hire this editor from Matera to go through the footage and help me figure out what I have.
Wow.
Someone asked where the artwork comes from, and those are paintings by Carlo Levi. I have fallen in love with this man. He as the film points out, he was a fascist, a dissident under fascism, and Mussolini locked him up in this nothing town an hour out of Matera, and he's just sat and it was like, I've been in the place that he was at. It's beautiful. He was basically, Mussolini put him in an artist colony for a year, and he just cranked out the canvases, and took the notes that became Cristo si è fermato a Eboli, Christ stopped at Eboli, which I mean, I don't know that a single book has ever had such an enormous impact on a country. It came out in 45, and by 53, they were evacuating people from the old city. De Gasperi saw a very brief, very pixelated clip of the prime minister going down to Matera, and it was because the communists made such an issue after Christ Stop at Eboli came out. The communists made such an issue about finally doing something about the Southern problem, what they called the Southern problem. And the Christian Democrats had to do something. So De Gasperi was a big PR stunt, as you saw. He brought the cameras down. He visited the people in the caves. They showed him crying, and then they raised the money to build all the Plattenbau, all the apartment blocks, and that my family lives in to this day. And my cousin Maria, my father's first cousin, who you saw in the video, she just died a couple of weeks ago. So I got that interview in November of 2018. In like I think January of 2019, she had a stroke and had a really awful last year. But that and another couple of hours of video that I did with her and her son and her grandson was I got the last chance with her. And then I also got some interviews with her older sister, who she mentions, and she's in really great shape. And you know, they were born in the Paleolithic and now live in modernity. And they've lived the most extraordinary lives.
Wow. Thank you so much. This is a very interesting project. Good fortune with that. Thank you. And without further ado, we'll move to another filmmaker who's located in Berlin, Stéfane Riethauser. If you could unmute yourself.
I have. Hello. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul, for that. And thank you, Boris, for having me. So I'm happy to share with you today 3 short videos that are excerpts of my latest film called Madame. Madame was released exactly 1 year ago at the Swiss festival Vision du Réel in Nyon, near Geneva. And since then, I've been lucky to been invited everywhere around the world. I showed the film at over 30 festivals. I won 10 awards, and I was traveling up until 6 weeks ago, where the tour was brutally stopped in Paris, exactly 3 days before the theatrical release. So since then, everything has been canceled, postponed, suspended. I was to go to Tokyo, to Kiev, to Tel Aviv, to Barcelona, and so on. I hope that the tour will be able to resume at some point. But without further ado, what I'm going to do now is just share the trailer with you so you can have an idea of what the film is about. It's a very personal film. It tells the story of my grandmother, as well as my coming out story as a gay man. And yeah, I won't say anymore.
Before you start, I do want to say, I've known Stéfane for several years, and I remember when you were editing this project all day and all night, and it was hard. I remember you taking time to have dinner with Paul and I, actually, in Kreuzberg, and just how diligently you're working night and day on this project. And I'm so impressed by you and your work. I mean, your fluency in languages, you are also an attorney, and you hosted a salon in Berlin 2 years ago in April, and it started at 7 p.m. and ended at 6 the next morning. The Berlin salons tend to go on longer than the American salons do.
We don't have police hours here. We don't have curfew.
It's just, and it's a cultural thing, I guess. But I'm so grateful for you and grateful that you're sharing today.
So yes, I will I will share my screen now and launch the little trailer. It's just 2 minutes long. And then I will launch the next video with a little introduction.
3.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear? I think
You have to hit the little buttons.
I messed up something. Hop. Forgot the little buttons after all that rehearsal. There we go.
One, two, three.
Package 1. Bonjour, c'est grand-maman. Me veux-tu pas connu? Pas la peine de raconter tout ça. Eh, bon, mais tu veux pas me répondre, évidemment. Mais moi, je ferais comme si tu me répondais. Adieu.
Ma chère grand-maman, ça fait 15 ans que tu es partie. Mais le son de ta voix résonne encore en moi.
La vie est une bataille où on n'a pas le droit à des états d'âme.
Aujourd'hui, je veux t'offrir un petit voyage dans notre passé et te dire les choses qu'il n'était pas possible de se dire. Je vais te parler d'amour. Et des choses qui concernent notre sexe.
Je n'attends pas des baisers ni des tendresses, des mots d'amour.
J'ai pas eu de chance en amour, j'ai toujours tombé sur des types qui m'exploitent. Or j'aime mieux dire que ça me guérit des hommes, ça. Il n'était pas question qu'une femme fasse des études ou fasse de l'argent, ça m'a manqué, alors j'ai fait tout ce que j'ai fait. Parce que pour une femme d'affaires, tu sais, à cette époque, on ne les voulait pas. Hein. J'étais la pestiférée de la famille.
J'ai tellement peur de te rendre malheureuse. Je veux pas te salir avec des mots imprononçables. Alors je devrais te mentir pour te laisser en paix jusqu'à ta mort.
Je pense que si tous les gays, les lesbiennes, les filles de Suisse faisaient leur coming out en même temps, je suis persuadé que l'homophobie disparaîtrait dans les 48 heures. Parce que nous sommes simplement trop nombreux.
Arrête de me filmer. Oh, la sorcière de la maison.
All right. Was this okay? Could you hear me, Boris?
Yeah, there was a period of time where the sound disappeared, but it came back.
Okay.
Fortunately, there were subtitles.
Yes, the subtitles are what matters here for an international audience. And now I will share with you another little video. It's actually a deleted scene. It was a little bit too long to be included in the film. And I made it's a little story that also has a purpose. It's just an anecdote. My grandmother, when she was 15 and went to a beauty contest, she will explain it, and it's 4 minutes long. So here you go with English subtitles.
Raconte-moi un épisode d'une fois, tu m'avais raconté ta sortie en cachette et puis le concours de beauté. C'était avant ton mariage, ça?
Oh, c'est sûr.
Raconte-moi ça.
J'avais 15 ans, j'allais bien couper les cheveux chez une coiffeuse. Et puis cette coiffeuse, elle me dit, écoute, il y a un concours de coiffure qui se fait. Elle m'a dit, moi j'aimerais bien la faire avec toi, est-ce que tu crois que tes parents te permettraient? Puis je demande ça à ma mère, elle dit, mon Dieu, ne parle jamais de ça à ton père, c'est pas possible. Il te laissera jamais aller là-dedans. Puis moi je dis, maman, écoute, j'aimerais bien faire ça, j'aimerais bien les voir, il y aura sûrement des jolies toilettes, surtout que c'était une grande salle. On appelait ça le Kurzfeld, et c'était formidable. Comme endroit, c'était très, très, très chic. À ce moment-là, on a demandé à la bouchère qui se trouve à côté, elle lui a dit, écoutez, est-ce que vous ne voudriez pas accompagner ma fille là? Moi, je ne veux pas la laisser aller seule, mais elle veut aller voir ça, elle veut aller absolument voir ça. Dites que vous avez une place du cinéma, puis que votre mari ne peut pas y aller, ou trouvez une excuse, mais emmenez-la, vous. Puis, oh, mais moi, je serais contente d'aller là, bien sûr. Alors elle demande à mon père, puis elle lui dit, Je lui dis, mais alors, vous serez rentré de bonne heure? Oui, oui, on sera rentré de bonne heure. Et quand je suis arrivée, et je vois arriver des femmes en robe blonde, moi j'avais une robe courte, bleu marine, mais j'avais un grand décolleté devant la tête, assez joli, avec un grand plastron blanc tout plissé. Puis j'avais mis un grand collier, qui n'était pas vrai, mais qui faisait quand même perle, qui était assez long. J'avais juste ce collier, cette robe bleu marine avec ce plastron blanc, des ravissants petits souliers, et puis alors, toujours des jolis bas, parce qu'alors ça, dans la famille, les bas, les souliers, c'était sacré. Et puis on fait le concours, et puis moi je regardais toutes ces femmes magnifiques, il y en a qui étaient coiffées par des grands coiffeurs, des chignons splendides, et enfin tout ça. Moi j'étais aux anges de regarder ça. Puis toutes ces femmes bien maquillées, puis moi j'avais juste mis un peu de rouge à lèvres, parce qu'il n'était pas question de se maquiller à cette époque. Alors un rouge à lèvres que j'ai chippé à ma sœur, encore, et puis que j'avais caché, mais que j'ai mis quand même pour la circonstance. Alors, je ne sais pas si c'est cette simplicité ou bien quoi qui a saisi, mais toujours est-il que j'avais le numéro 8. Alors, moi, je me dépêche, puis je me mets avec les gens comme ça pour regarder celle qui va être appelée la première. On me dit le numéro 8, puis moi, je ne répondais pas, parce que jamais j'ai pensé que c'était moi. Tout d'un coup, j'entends taper dans mon dos, puis il me dit « Mais c'est à toi, qu'est-ce que tu fais? Allez, vas-y !» Puis moi, je voulais pas y aller, tu comprends. C'était très impressionnant. Il fallait monter sur un podium, fallait monter tous les jours, là, c'était plein de monde. Oh là là. Et puis, la première chose qui m'est venue, mon Dieu, mon père, qu'est-ce qu'il m'a dit? J'avais une frousse. Mais enfin, je dis, peut-être il ne le saura pas. Alors, je monte sur ce podium, alors des applaudissements, alors tu reçois une énorme corbeille de fleurs que tu ne sais pas quand perdre, et la bouchère a dû le cacher chez elle. Tu reçois des cadeaux, des bas, je me rappelle 6 paires de bas, Guy, c'était des bas Guy à l'époque, qui étaient formidables. Tu as des séances de coiffure, tu as, enfin, tout ce qu'un premier prix, tu comprends, peut avoir. Et puis surtout des photos d'un photographe qui était le meilleur, qui était à la rue du Mont-Blanc. J'avais droit à 6 photos et un agrandissement. Et puis lui, on a fait un grand qu'il a mis dans sa vitrine à la rue du Mont-Blanc, qui est resté longtemps. Mais c'est pas le tout. C'est que ça, le lendemain sur la Suisse, il y avait ma photo. Et mon père, comme tous les dimanches, il allait prendre l'apéritif dans un petit bistrot où il y avait tous les gens qui se réunissaient du quartier, qui étaient sympathiques comme tout. Puis il dit, alors dis donc, t'as vu ta fille? Quoi, ma fille? Mais t'as pas vu ta fille sur le journal? Ma fille sur le journal? Mais c'est pas possible, elle est au cinéma. Aïe, 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 aïe. Je vais toujours arriver avec ça. Plus jamais tu sortiras, plus jamais, avec personne, avec personne. Et c'est vrai, il m'a plus jamais laissé partir avec quelqu'un.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
So yes, that was, can you all hear me?
Yes?
Yes.
Yes, that was a little anecdote, as you heard, that unfortunately I couldn't include in the film. But basically, yes, as you might have guessed, my grandmother was the youngest daughter of an Italian immigrant family, very poor, working class. They had a laundry in a suburb of Geneva back then, at the beginning of the 20th century. And this happened when she was 15. She was a flamboyant personality. And then a couple months later, she was forced to marry a guy she was not in love to because she'd been seen with him. And this she tells in the film. And basically, she was forced into marriage when she was 16, and then decided to break free and get a divorce after she had gotten her first child. And basically, she embraced a career as a hairdresser and then as a fashion designer, and opened restaurants and made a fortune and became this incredible businesswoman that I still admire today and that inspired me so much over the course of my life. So, and this was a little anecdote that I thought could interest people who have watched the movie. And last It's a very short video that also didn't make it into the film. It is a poem by Pierre de Ronsard from the 16th century with English subtitles. It's just 1.5 minutes. I'll let you enjoy it. It's just my grandmother reciting this poem at the lunch table in her apartment with some friends of mine that were there that day.
Moi, j'ai un poème de lui que je me dis tous les jours. Je lui dis merci Ronsard parce que c'est vrai.
Comment s'appelle-t-il ce poème?
Quand vous serez bien vieille, au soir, à la chandelle, assise auprès du feu, dévidant et filant, direz chantant mes vers en vous émerveillant. Ronsard me célébrait du temps que j'étais belle. Lors, vous n'aurez servante ayant telle nouvelle, déjà sous le labeur à demi sommeillant, qui au bruit de mon nom ne s'aille réveillant, bénissant votre nom de louange immortelle. Je serai sous la terre, et fantôme sans eau, par les ombres myrteuses, je prendrai mon repos. Vous serez au foyer une vieille accroupie, regrettant mon amour et votre fier dédain. Vivez si m'en croyez, n'attendez à demain, cueillez dès aujourd'hui les roses de la vie. C'est pas actuel, ça?
Extraordinaire.
Pour moi, c'est pas actuel, mais c'est tout à fait ça. C'est tout à fait ça. Alors je trouve on peut vivre avec Ronsard quand on est vieux. Quand on est jeune, on comprend moins. Mais quand on est vieux, et puis il écrit ses écrits, sa vie, tout ça, c'est un poème, cet homme. Lui est un poème. Moi, je trouve ça formidable.
Extraordinaire.
Lovely. So that's the little poem by Caroline, my grandmother, reciting this when she was already 93 years old.
Wow.
And the good news I can share with you today, you see there's a website to the film. You can watch the trailer. There's a Facebook page also. I can share good news with you guys today. I just found an American distributor. So the film is going to be released in the US. The deal has been signed yesterday. And the film will come to the theaters, probably to the small independent theaters, hopefully when they reopen. And it's going to be released also on VOD, on DVD, and also a DVD edition in France is planned, in Germany also in a couple of weeks. So, and hopefully the festival tour will be able to go on once this crisis is over.
Am I not correct that you have received many awards for this film already?
Yes, I have. And for me, I must say it's like a dream coming true, because I always dreamt of making movies, but I didn't think it was possible, because I was educated in a kind of conservative bourgeois way where I had to take over daddy's office or my uncle's office as a lawyer. And I wanted to be an artist, but I didn't think it was possible. So I sort of complied to the expectations of my environment and of my family until the day I came out. And my coming out as a gay man made me realize that I had to go for my true feelings and also for my true aspirations in life. So I dropped it all. I mean, I finished law school, but then I went on to a different career. And now I'm living in Berlin and making films. And this dream came true after 5 years of hard work. And it was just recognized in my country, Switzerland. I was nominated for the Swiss Film Awards, which is the equivalent to the Oscars. Switzerland, of course, being a very, very small country, so it's not really equivalent. But I mean, it's the best you can get on the national level in our country. And again, the movie is being bought and shown all over the world. So I was in Taiwan also, so technically China, it even showed there. So I hope it will go on, and that I will be able to share this story with as much people as possible. So thank you all for your attention.
I have a question. Switzerland seems to be very supportive of its artists. Is that accurate? I've gotten the impression, I've had several friends from Switzerland, and it all seems that the government really acknowledges art as essential and promotes the work that they do. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. We have a federal office of culture, and we have 26 states. We call them cantons, and each state has also a lot of money for culture. We're very privileged because we're supported on a regional level, but also on the national level. They have a film fund of about 30 million euros or Swiss francs, which is about the same. They have funds for literature, for dance, for theater. A lot of the arts are supported. They fund operas and everything. And of course, we have a lot of private foundations too. And my film, for instance, just to give you an example, is a budget of $250,000 for a documentary film like this, which is actually not so much. I didn't make money with it. I could just pay the bills and pay the people that worked with me, my team. And it was mostly funded by Swiss television and the Council of the Arts in Switzerland and some private foundations. So it's probably 75% public money and 25% private money, to give you an idea.
That's really wonderful. I've been blessed to be able to make my living as an artist in the U.S. in my entire adult life. When I several incarnations ago, I was a choreographer. I was artist in residence at University of Maryland as a choreographer. Nobody knows I was a dancer at one point. But I was on a national board addressing problems of being an artist in the United States, and I was 19 years old. And the other people on the panel were Martha Graham and John Cage, and I didn't say a word. I just sat there with my jaw in my lap going, oh my God, I'm on a panel with Martha Graham and John Cage. Anyway, my takeaway from it was Richard Nixon was president at the time, and Richard Nixon I memorized it because it was so bizarre. He said that artists are subversive by nature and potentially dangerous to the stability of the United States government. And he issued an executive order making artists the most audited group of people and directing the Internal Revenue Service to pay special attention to artists. And artists are the most audited group of professionals in the United States, or at least they were for like 20 years from that point forward. And that was an interesting thing. And our National Endowment for the Arts does not make grants to individual artists. They make them to institutions only. And so, I mean, and it hasn't kept me from making a living as an artist in the United States. I've received grants institutionally from the National Endowment. It's just a different route to get your work done. And I'm not complaining. It was just a very strange sentiment. And I'm always good, wow, look at what Switzerland is doing. And I have friends in the Netherlands too, where they provide them with a house and a recording studio and a studio and everything to do their work, even if they never produce anything, just because it's important to have artists in the community, which I think is a great
It is vital. I must say, I admire especially artists and filmmakers in America, independent filmmakers, because it's really tough to film is very, very expensive. And it's really tough to get your project financed. It's tough for any artist everywhere. But at least in Europe, in most countries, we are entitled or not. You can apply. You don't always get the money, but at least you can apply, and you can be supported and make your project. And yeah, in the US, I remember what you were saying, Boris. Just at the Berlinale, the Berlin Film Festival, just a couple of weeks ago, 2 months ago, Monika Grütters, the federal delegate for the arts and cultures, made a very, very strong speech. It was just after some right-wing attack where some fascist lunatic killed 12 people in Germany. and foreigners and Turkish people for the most part. And she stated again the importance of art in general and of artists and of all this diversity of voices we need to hear. And Monika Grütters is from the Conservative Party. She's from Merkel's party in Germany. And I must say I was very moved by her speech, because even here, the so-called conservatives, they recognize the importance of the artists and of the art that is produced, that holds us all together as a society, I think, as a community.
That is the purpose of the Salon. I mean, when all is said and done, I mean, governments come and go, political ideologies, religions even come and go. And what we have as a permanent record of our humanity are the art forms that are left behind. And it's our ongoing story as mankind is expressed in the arts. And anyway, I'm really grateful for your work and for your presentation today. I thank you very much.
I can share a little cup of a Zek that I've just been brought, because I have some friends in my kitchen that are actually preparing dinner here. So
how nice for you. Cheers. And thank you. I applaud you. And there are lots of comments. Please look at your.
Yeah, you're fine too. I see.
So I would like to.
Boris, can I interject something?
Yes.
Just before I forget, I want everyone to know this. The Metropolitan Opera is doing live streaming, and they're going to stream the farewell performance of Leontine Price for the next 24 hours. So I thought I would just send the link in case anyone's going to do what I'm going to do after this, which is to watch Leontine Price's farewell performance at the Met.
Oh my God, I love Leontine Price. I was in the chorus. Two things about Leontine Price. I was in Cincinnati. I was in the May Festival chorus, and there was I was in the front row of the bass section. We sang Stabat Mater by Rossini, and Leontine Price was the soprano. And the last movement is Inflammatus, and the full orchestra, everyone's marking, and the chorus too, is fortissimo. I mean, it's just as loud as you possibly can sing. And Leontine Price, this is, Cincinnati's Music Hall is one of the larger concert halls in the United States. And she's standing in front of the orchestra with her back to me, of course. And we were all singing as loud as we possibly could. And here is Leontine Price singing louder than all of us combined. And it's still one of the most amazing, miraculous things. I mean, I get chills when I recall it. And
when I was at Juilliard, she gave a master class, and every time she opened, this is in the 90s, so you know she was long retired, but every time she opened her mouth to demonstrate something, everybody like looked at each other like, what just happened? It was unbelievable.
Well, in the 90s, I was harpist at the Ritz-Carlton in San Francisco, and I was in the fine dining room, and the maitre d' said, would you go and take your harp next door in the private dining room for a birthday party? And it was Leontine Price giving a birthday dinner for herself and 15 of her closest friends. And I expected to play, you know, background ambient music while they entertained. And I sat down with my harp, and she tapped her glass and said, Silenzio. And no one was allowed to breathe or say a word while I played. And it became a recital. And she wanted to know about the composer of each piece and who I had studied with and where and it was like being in a master class online, and one of the great privileges of my life, playing for her. But anyway, thanks for telling us about Leontine Price. So you posted it, great. So thank you, Paul. And we're going to move now to Alexander Boldachev in Zurich. Are you there, Alexander? Bravo.
Yeah, sleeping on the harp.
Thank you for waiting. I have to say something. I have to rave about you a little bit. I went to a recital of yours in San Francisco, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I'd never heard a harpist play that way before. Then I bought all your CDs, and one of them, my favorite, is the Harp as Orchestra, where you play orchestral reductions on the harp. I think you definitely have turned harp playing into a superpower. And Alexander had a recital at Carnegie Hall in January of this year, and he was the harpist at the Bolshoi Theater, and he teaches master classes around the world in many different languages. And I'm in awe of your work. And I'm in awe of everyone's work who's shown today. And as a harpist, I'm particularly in awe of yours. You're the harpist. And I welcome you to share your work now.
Thank you very much, Boris. It's it was first of all very interesting to be here. A lot of very interesting artists, a lot of new inspiration. Well, basically all the time now is about inspiration, because suddenly people realize that themselves is the only what they have, and that all these travelings, connections, and everything is, well, it's very good, but most of the people I know, they don't know who they are, so they are just right now using this time on the quarantine, in this situation, to learn who they are. So anyway, this kind of meetings, they are very important, and I'm doing the same. I'm still learning who I am, and I hope to do that next 60 years minimum. I just spoke with one harpist, Dhillon. She was studying with Carl Salcedo, who was very important harpist in the United States, and she joined the class in 1947. So you can imagine, it's not polite to say the women age, but you can imagine if she was studying in 1947, what age she is now. So I had the interview with her, asking her questions about her past, but she was with more pleasure speaking about that she found another pieces to learn, that she wants to improve her technique, that she was on my master class and she learned something, so she's trying now, and she sees that there is so many things to achieve and improve. And you know, I would be very happy in 60 years to have the same power. So, but I have the instrument here, and it's live and it's working. So I don't know actually what I'm going to play, because most of you don't know the harp, and just briefly to say that you understand why the harp was so much important always in the history, is that it's coming from the hunting bow. So people were hunting the animals, then they understood that actually the string on the bow make the sound, so they need more strings, 3, then 5, and that happened everywhere in the world. So that's why the harp is the national instrument of each country. Just they call it or lira or kifara or kinora in Israel, or it will be in Africa kora. Well, not exactly kora. There is another name in Africa. Anyway, there is in every country there is the harp with a certain name. So this is really an instrument which had 6 years or even more of evolution, and now we have this big thing with 47 strings, and we can play anything. So not to play just one piece or two. I will go through the pieces. I don't know which pieces I will play. I will just drive from one to another, and later on, if I will remember, I will tell you what those pieces were, so those compositions. So let's see what we got.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Can you remember what you played?
The harp is always getting, you know, normally this harp, this harp is always in Zurich. And in the last several years, as I was traveling, I spent in Zurich like 2-3 months a year maximum. So now I spend so much time with this harp that it's getting crazy. It's getting all the time untuned, and I change so many strings. And this harp is not used to be used every day for so many hours. Sometimes I just wake up, I go to the harp, and then I go to sleep. So there is nothing in between. I'm just sitting with the harp from the very early morning till the deep night, and then that's it. So
that's living.
Well, that's a good time.
It's
yeah. Thank you very much for your comments, and thank you. Well, I'm happy to be here in so many with so many artists. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Really, I'm so grateful. And please go to Alexander's website and check out. Can your CDs be purchased through your recordings and stream?
Will be soon. I don't have like kind of central. Well, I have a website, but I don't sell there a lot because, well, normally it's quite difficult to manage everything myself. So that's why so I do a lot, but it's not everything what I do is published or available because it's a completely different job to. Well, I do my management, I do, of course, I organize also all the concerts, and this concert in Carnegie Hall that was also organized by me. But anyway, that's the work which I shouldn't do, so I'm trying to do less. So, of course, the CDs are available somewhere on iTunes and Spotify, some of them, but now I will publish new CDs, so it takes time. He got bored and just went out.
No, my dog wanted to leave the room.
Okay, your dog got bored, and
I had to open the door. Amazing! I love your playing. I'm inspired by your playing, Angie, and I'm so grateful that you joined the Salon today. You made my month. Thank you.
Well, thank you for organization.
And thank you everyone for joining us today. We're going to start a series of home performances on the Salon. So you'll be sent notices, and there'll be charges for those that support the artists, because people can't go out and perform. So if Alexander does a home concert, we'll promote it. If there are other artists who will be doing home concerts, and you can send money directly to them to hear their work. And that's upcoming on the monthly Salon site. So stay tuned for that. And that's the first recital is actually going to be by Josh McLean, a cellist, and you'll get notice of that. But today, are there questions or for Alexander before we move on?
No one wrote any in the chat.
I think everybody's just thrilled and applauding. So thank you. So thank you, Alexander, and thank you everyone for being part of the Salon today. We'll continue with Zoom. Actually, we'll probably continue with Zoom salons from now on, in addition to when we're allowed to be in the same room again. We'll add the Zoom to it so people around the world can join in. And really grateful to all of you. Thank you for being part of it.
Thank you, Boris.
Thank you, Boris. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
So nice to see
all
everyone.
of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. So amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Boris.
Thank you,
Sasha. That was
everybody.
incredible. And all of you guys, that's such an honor to perform with all of you.
And Boris, hello?
Hello?
Yes.
I would like to invite, if you like my music also, to go to my martaledo.com website or Marta Lledo video channel. You will see all the music
You all will receive a follow-up mailing, so check your email tomorrow. It'll have the collective poem and the links to everyone's websites of the artists that you saw and how to see their work and see more of it. And also the program I sent out today has the websites attached to on it as well.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thanks for playing. Well, I want to go.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
So everyone can chat amongst themselves. So have a wonderful evening, everyone, depending on where you are in the world. It's time for Darlene to go to bed. Probably some Berliners are going to stay up later. Our day is just starting.
Berliners are just getting, come on, Boris, come on.
Yeah, Berliners are just getting started.
No,
it's true.
It's 1st of May here. There are riots on the street for police everywhere because they're
in Kreuzberg.
unauthorized demonstrations everywhere.
Wow.
Marta is in Kreuzberg right now, for sure.
Well, I'm thrilled to...
In front of my building, there was police and helicopters all afternoon. It was very noisy.
But
really?
But Stéfane, were there any people? Like I biked to Matthias's place and didn't see a soul.
Yeah, I didn't go on the street on Oranienstraße, but right now they were gathering at 6, and there will be some minor trouble because it's going to be a lot less than the other years, obviously. But there were about 30 demonstrations today authorized by the police, up to 50 people. It's legal, and of course there will be a lot more people out there.
That's because the police want the demonstrators to get COVID and die.
Oops.
So many people will die. No.
Oops. Anyway.
Boris, what's it like hanging out in front of the Brandenburger Tor? You look amazing. You're lit perfectly along with the tower, with the
well, that's the sunshine coming in through the front window. It's just noontime here, and the sun is moving from my front window to my back window.
Yeah, but it's extraordinary. You understand that the photograph behind you is directionally lit exactly the way you are? Do you see
terrific.
that?
Yeah, I do.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you look regal.
I worked all week on that. No.
You look like Langan sculpted you along with all of those pillars and statues.
What a nice thing. That's the sculpture of that piece there? I did not know that. Thank you. Helpful. Wow.
Wait,
really impressed with everyone today.
Where is that? The picture behind you, where is it from?
It's in Berlin.
I think I was there. It's
Brandenburg tour.
You were.
Yeah. I was in Berlin for like 9 hours, and I just wandered around, and I think I ended up. I was like hiding from the rain under there for like 10 minutes. Nice.
You were in Berlin and you didn't call me?
Oh, I didn't know you at the time.
Well, that's a pretty
next
good
time
excuse,
I would love
Gemiah.
to. I definitely want to come back and visit. It was really a really good 9 hours, even though I was completely drenched most of the time. I was just had a day off of rehearsal in Hamburg and shot down there on the train for a little bit. And it's really wonderful to get to explore a bit.
Well, if anyone wants to stay on, I'll throw on as a bonus Gemiah's aerial piece, if you'd like to see that.
Yeah, I'll watch it again. I haven't watched it since I made it.
Let me find it. Okay.
Gemiah, I have to ask you, I think we must have a lot of circus people in common from the Bay Area. Do you know Cody Harrell and Laura Stokes?
Cody Harrell and Laura Stokes. They sound so familiar. I'm trying to think
They had an aerialist duo called Ricochet, and they both been in Berlin for a few years, and they also spent time in New Mexico.
Oh, nice.
But they were also in San
Francisco
a lot.
I'm not sure if I've met them in person, but I know I've heard those names.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Definitely in the community. Yeah. Cody, god dang. I'm really bad at remembering, but yeah, I definitely, some of my friends have talked about them or something.
This is
nice.
This performance. Oh, sorry. This performance is from a Salon in October, actually, November 2018 at Living Green here in San Francisco, where they had high enough ceilings to do aerial. And the artists performing are Charles Moselle, Josh McLean on cello, and Gemiah doing his work. So let me hook this up and sit back and enjoy this bonus round. Oops, is that the right screen? Just a minute, let me try that again. There, get the right one.
Yeah. While I was getting this set up, this is I just do a little backstory. This was a completely improvised and really wonderful to work with Josh. And oh my God, I forgot the other fellow's name. He was amazing. Charles, yeah. Really, really a pleasure getting to work with these two fellows on music.
Bravo.
And so that'll be our parting shot. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being part of the salon today.
Yeah.
And have a wonderful rest of the day and tomorrow, wherever you are.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Boris.
Thank you.
Much love to everybody.
Boris. Lovely.
Always a pleasure.
Bye. And go to dinner.
Boris.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah, I hope to keep in touch with all of you. All right, take care.
Thank you, Boris.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye now.
Where do I get this? All right,
Boris.
ciao, Boris. Thank you.
Bye now.
Boris, hold on.